Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and I am joined by a very, very special guest. Joining me is Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive lineman, Mr. Raiqwon O'Neal. Raiqwon, how you doing today?
I'm blessed. How about you?
I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for asking. I saw you at OTA practices today. I was not personally there, but Twitter and everything. I was actually curious. So I saw somebody tweet out today that you were playing guard. Is that a new thing that they've introduced to you, or were you playing tackle today? Just kind of explain that.
I've been playing guard. I've been playing guard. I'm being versatile, learning the whole offensive line. So going from center guard to tackle.
Oh right. Oh okay. You're doing everything.
Yes, sir.
Right on. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I thought of no better place to start than this. And I remember when I was told about this, I knew I wanted to bring it up today. So you have a foundation
Yes, sir.
that I wanted to talk with you about today. And I thought of no better thing to start off the interview on with that. Tell me about your foundation and what you do for the communities and whatnot.
Okay. Excuse me. So growing up, I always loved giving back. That's been like on my heart. That's been my passion and my dedication to it. And so throughout my life, throughout the years, I've just been giving back, and no matter where I've been at. And so what started my foundation, the Raiqwon Foundation, I started back in November of 2024. And this way now I could do stuff for myself, not just through like the team or through other people. I could do it now. I can say like for me. And so what started it was I wanted to show the kids where I'm from, and not only where I'm from, but also touch other communities that I've been at, to show them like they could use me as an inspiration. I grew up in a single parent home, and I know how it is like to not have a parent in the house. And so me starting the Raiqwon Foundation, as I said, I want to be an inspiration. I want to let the kids know you don't have to follow the streets, you don't have to follow the crowd, you don't have to sell drugs, you don't have to do any of that. What I did was I put God first, and I put the hard work in it, and everything else took care of itself. So showing the kids that being like in the flesh, showing them and touching each, at least I want to touch at least one kid. If I could touch one kid, like reach them, then they could go out and spread their wings and reach another kid.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. So obviously November 2024. So and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but you kind of split time between Seattle and Tampa, right? So kind of when you look at obviously now being in Tampa, what kind of activities do you have planned for the foundation?
So now that I've been in Tampa, so right now I literally just got done this past Thursday. I had my scholarship ceremony, which I gave four students at my high school, Conway High School in South Carolina, four students scholarships, $1,000 each. So
Okay,
that's the
wow.
part, trending in the right direction. And next, I have a free admissions camp coming up in the summer, June 20th, 21st, at the Conway Recreation Center in Conway, South Carolina. And it's going to be a youth camp and a cheerleaders camp June 20th. And on the 21st, it's going to be a football camp for the high schoolers.
Okay,
Free,
awesome.
free
Awesome.
admission from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to be some NFL guys out there coaching the guys up. And for the cheerleaders, I'm going to have Coastal Carolina cheerleaders to come coach the girls up in cheerleading.
That's fantastic. Awesome. Well, where can the people learn more about the Raekwon O'Neal Foundation?
For right now, you can go to my Instagram, Raiqwon O'Neal. You don't know how to spell this, Raiqwon, and O'Neal is Oneal. You just go on my page, and in my bio, there's a link that goes straight to my foundation page. It's the Raiqwon O'Neal Foundation. And so I'm working on my website. It's almost finished. So then once the website be published, you can just go to my Instagram, or you would go to my Facebook, Raiqwon O'Neal, and you just click the link and it'll take you to it. But for right now, all I have in my bio is my Zephy, where people can donate, and which Zephy is a great website for people who's had nonprofits and things of that nature, where people could donate and also get their tax write off letter sent to their email so they donate, so they don't have to wait on you to get it done. And so right now, my bio is my Zephy link in my Eventbrite for the kids to sign up.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, obviously, I wish nothing but the best for the foundation and for everybody
Thank
watching this. Go check it out. It's always good to support not just the players, but the communities that they support as well, guys. So definitely go and check that out. Raekwon, now coming out of high school, you mentioned it. You were born in South Carolina, in Conway, South Carolina, and you were a top player during that time coming out of SC, you had offers from Florida, Michigan, University of South Carolina, which is only 2 hours away from where you were born. But you have the shirt. You chose to play at Rutgers, all the way up in New Jersey, right? So that's a bit of a hike. So what went into that decision to go out there and play at Rutgers?
So let's backtrack a little bit. It started back when I was in 8th grade. I told my mom I'm getting away as far as possible from here.
Oh, okay.
That's where it started. So that's what drove me to get far away as I could. So, but what went into the decision to go to Rutgers. So I had my stepdad who came to my life in 8th grade too. So it worked out perfect. So my stepdad, but I call him pops now. My pops and my mom always led me. It's like, make sure you get your education first. Go to a place that feel like home.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first got there, as soon as I stepped foot on campus, it felt like home. And then with my degree, I wanted to do an art major. I wanted to do graphic design and photography. So that was the best in my major. It was Rutgers. So then felt like home, the education, and that's what led to my decision. And I also played a part for the football aspect. I was part of a change of flipping the program around in high school. We went 2-9 my freshman year, then flipped it, went 9-2, and was on a winning streak, making the playoffs. So I want to do that in college as well.
Now, in that obviously, you said at the beginning there, I wanted to get as far away from Conway, South Carolina. That explains the decision you made later on, which we will get to. By far explains that. But
Yeah.
you said something that was interesting to me. Art degree, graphic design. What made you go for that?
So I've always been an artist my whole life. It started back with drawing like Goku, Dragon Ball Z
Oh yeah.
characters. So that's where it started at. And I love to draw. So I did art, which led me to having an internship with the Rutgers Athletics, the creative surgeons at Andrew. And so I did graphic design, photography, painting, still life drawings. I did art history. So I learned a lot at Rutgers.
That's awesome. I love that. It's a very I love that because that's such a unique degree, right? Like for a football player, right? Like you always hear about certain different types of things about other. I love that. The art degree is awesome, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not I'm sure you know this, but your head coach at Rutgers has some history with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Greg Schiano. Now,
Yeah.
now I'm gonna be honest. Things didn't go well for Greg with the Buccaneers. There's a lot of reasons, right? But what was it like playing for Greg at Rutgers? Because he is such a staple of Rutgers football. He has been there forever. So what was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. Coach Schiano taught us a lot of football 101. It taught us like how to be mentally tough, most importantly. And he got us ready for the real world that's out there. So kudos, hats off to Coach Schiano because he really taught me a lot while I was there.
See, now do you feel like his time, like whenever we think about universities and stuff that like prepare you for the NFL, right? Like you think of like the big universities and whatnot, like your Ohio States, Texas, Georgia, stuff like that. But like with Schiano being a former NFL coach, do you feel like that helped prepare you for the next level?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I could take it back a step further is with Coach Ash.
Mm-hmm.
He also was prepared too with that with his staff as well. So kudos to both Coach Ash staff and Coach Schiano staff. But to answer your question, yes,
Hmm.
being under Coach Schiano has prepared me to be in the NFL.
There you go. Now, you obviously did eventually transfer to UCLA. As I said, we were going to get to it. So you just said, hey, not only am I going to get away from Conway, South Carolina, I don't even want to be on the East Coast anymore. I'm going all the way over to the West Coast. What went into that decision to transfer over to UCLA?
Well, again, the education.
Mm-hmm.
The education UCLA was top 3 in the nation for their education. And like you just said there, it was an NFL staff. Being under Coach Kelly, that was another NFL staff. And I was willing to have that experience under my belt to know just to like similar what the league would be like so I could be ready prepared.
Yeah, because I know Chip Kelly. He's another one of those coaches who, I mean, obviously he went and had a lot of, some success over there in Philadelphia, and now he's back in the NFL. I bet he's in Houston now, or is he with the Raiders now? I believe he's
Oh,
with
he's with the Raiders, OC, right?
he's with the Raiders, correct? And did you notice similarities between Schiano and Chip Kelly where it came to that NFL preparedness?
Yes, absolutely. The intelligence of both of them. They have different coaching mechanisms, but they all have the same teaching, but different terminology. If that makes sense.
And what was it like? Because, like you said, like geographical difference is huge, right? But just the differences between like Rutgers and UCLA. Did you notice like big differences in terms of the styles of the universities, maybe the coaching staff and things along those lines? Did anything really stand out to you in terms of those differences?
I'll say playing in the Big Ten and the Pac-12, the speed of it was a little different because everyone in the Pac-12 was much faster than everyone in the Big Ten.
Okay, interesting, interesting. Now you went undrafted in 2023, okay, and you decided to join the Bucs. Now I always find it interesting for undrafted guys because you may have some teams, a few teams that call, and it's up to you to make that decision, right? So what went into that decision to join the Bucs?
It's funny. So I had a lot of minicamp invites.
Right.
So I had two back to back, one weekend, the next the following weekend. And so I didn't get the contract until a week later from Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay also called for a minicamp invite. But what went to that, I was my own agent when I went in. I didn't have an agent. I was my own agent.
Oh, okay.
So I was doing a lot of answering the calls. And so when Tampa Bay said they want like a mini camp invite, I told them, hey, I'm already booked for this weekend, but I was thanking them for the honor. It was a pleasure and all that. And so God works in mysterious ways. A couple of days later, they called back and said, hey, we actually have a contract for you. So it was no brainer to take that. So it was an easy decision.
What were the other mini camps that you had went to?
I think it was before I went to, I think I had the Jets and the Vikings was my mini camp invites.
And was the contract offer from the Bucs in between those two mini camps? So like, let's say you went to one, and then in between going to.
No, no, no. So this is right after the draft, maybe like a week later. And then I was getting ready to head out
Mm-hmm.
to, I think the Jets came first. I think I was getting ready to head out that week to head out to the Jets mini camp. And that's when I got the call.
Oh, so you never even got to do either of those mini camps before you got the offer from the
Correct.
Bucs.
Correct.
First off, I want to say this: crazy pole mic drop moment to be your own agent and to say, "Hey, man, I'm booked, but I'm thankful, but I'm booked. I'm sorry." That's goaded. That's amazing. And secondly, like you said, what kind of confidence did that put in you to be for to say like, "Hey, I would love to go. I can't go. I'm sorry. I'm booked." But then for them to come back and say, "Actually, forget the mini camp. We just want to sign you to a deal." That had to have instilled in you some confidence, right?
Absolutely, it did. And it just shows you how God works and you just trust the process. And you put the hard work in, everything else will take care of itself. Like I said earlier, for my foundation, you trust God, you put the hard work in, and everything will take care of itself.
Now I'm curious as well. Did you talk to obviously Greg Schiano at all before you joined the Bucs? Because he had experience with obviously a lot of the players aren't there anymore. A couple of them are. I mean, Will Golson was still there, I believe, a little bit, and Levante David was still there. But obviously, for the most part, the only guys he would have interacted with was the owners, the Glazier family. So, but did you talk to Greg at all about Tampa, about the team at all, and anything like that?
Now, me and him briefly talked about it, and then he just said, enjoy it, have fun. You're going to love Tampa. So he just said, just every day is going to be an interview and just enjoy it because you don't get this opportunity.
Has he been
Uh,
right so far?
he's been right. Yeah, he's been right.
I love it. I love it. Now, you went. Now you spent that 2023 season on the practice squad with the Bucs for a little bit, but then you signed to the Seahawks active roster. Um, uh, my first question regarding that was, how does it work for a practice squad player? Is it something where you have the option to go join a team, or is it more so like a team says, "Hey, we are signing you, and you have to go"?
Yeah, so as for a practice squad player, you're on the practice squad, but someone has to call to answer your question. Someone has to call for you, like call your agent
Okay.
or call yourself if you're your own agent.
Hmm.
So when week 2 came around, it was like week 2 of the season, and I got a call like on that Tuesday, and Seattle called me. It's like, hey, we like signing you on the 53 man. The minimum games you have to keep you is 3 games, and then that's when you have to negotiate with your current team. And so you go with your current team, see if they're going to offer the same thing. If not, then you got to make a decision if you want to stay or you want to leave.
Okay, interesting. So basically, how it worked was we want you to be on our 53-man roster for a 3-game minimum. That's what Seattle was saying, and then the Bucs could say like, "Hey, we're going to match that or not match that," and then it's up to you as
Correct.
the agent slash player to say, "Okay, what do I want to do here?" Basically.
Correct. Yep, absolutely. So, like in that case, I could go back to the Buccaneers and try to negotiate something, or I could just go ahead and take the Seattle route.
Okay, and obviously, of course, I mean, an opportunity to get on a 53-man roster. That's the goal, right? So of course you take that opportunity. What was your time in Seattle like? Because
Oh, it
talk
was amazing.
because
It
talk
was
about a geographical difference there.
it was amazing, dog. I heard you hear the stories all the time how like it's always gray, rainy in Seattle. I was like, no way, it's just raining this constantly. But to experience it, yeah, it's rains every day. But besides the weather, the experience was amazing. Being in that facility was amazing, especially for Pete Carroll's last season at the in Seattle. So it was definitely like amazing to experience.
That's awesome. And who did you learn from during that time in Seattle? Of course, being on the 53, I imagine it was a lot more different of an experience than being on a practice squad.
Yeah, so I was blessed to be well, I was blessed to have Jason Peters there.
Right.
So I've learned a lot. He took me under his wing, and I learned a lot from him. So that's who I learned pretty much a lot from him.
Do you still kind of keep in contact with him now just to ask him some questions and bounce some stuff off of him?
That's correct.
That's awesome. Now, in 2024, you started on the Seahawks practice squad, or you had went through the entire offseason with them, was on the practice squad, got cut, and then a couple of days later, I believe, you re-signed to the Bucs practice squad for the 2024 season. How did that return come about? Was it something where they had, whenever you had went to Seattle, they said, "Hey, just to let you know, we're going to be interested in bringing you back at some point," or how did that return get into the work, so to speak?
Well, that return, that's now at this point I've got an agent, so I
Okay.
could just focus on ball. So I've got an agent, and then he works behind the doors for me. So when that happened, he made phone calls to teams like especially Tampa because I was with them already, and so Tampa signed with them a couple days later. So when you leave a good impression to where you at, they want you around the building. That's for anywhere. That's not just for the league, but um, that's just for life.
Yeah, that is true. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah.
And like you said, it had to feel really good,
Mm-hmm.
to say like, "Hey, I went and I took this opportunity, and the Bucks still want Raiqwon O'Neal around to grow and to develop, and they liked you, when you were in that system initially, and they said, "Hey, we'd love to have you back." That was a very quick turnaround from obviously your time in Seattle coming to an end to saying to the Bucks saying, "Yeah, we want you back. We want you to continue to grow and develop you." What did that feel like? Like, did that, much like we talked about earlier, whenever you had first joined them, that had to be another confidence builder to say, "Wow, this team really does want me."
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It was again like it's a blessing because I could have still been at home on the couch waiting for a phone call. So
Mm-hmm.
I just took it as a blessing, and I was happy. I was excited because I got another opportunity again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And um, one thing that I enjoy from just connections, right? I always love making connections. One of your teammates from Rutgers is currently on the Buccaneers. Christian Izian is
Yeah,
here on the Buccaneers roster. Have you been able to connect with him at all about playing for Rutgers while you've been back with the Bucs?
absolutely. That's like we came. That was my class. We came in together at Rutgers, and we've been brothers ever since. So I talk to him almost every day.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Now, just a couple more questions here. So, for your time in Tampa Bay, obviously in Seattle, you learned from Jason Peters. That's another really great veteran to learn from. Good organization over there in Seattle as well. But who have been some guys that you've been able to learn from in the offensive line room in Tampa Bay? Because you've got a lot of really good guys to pull from. Obviously, you're playing guard now, but whenever you played offensive tackle in college and high school and whatnot, like the Bucs have some very good. Just the whole offensive line's really good, right? So, who have been some guys you've been able to grow and learn from, even going back to that first go around with Tampa and now also the second go around?
Actually, from everybody on the O line, everybody. Can't just and to point out individuals, but it's really been everybody that's been helping me out. Not just me, the other guys as well.
Okay. Now, and then obviously you mentioned it at the beginning, right? You've been playing tackle, guard, center. You've been trying, doing everything, right? I know the Bucs love that versatility along the offensive line. How has it been for you to learn all those different types of positions? Is this something that they've given you recently this offseason, or is this something they did last time you were here as well?
They done it last time I was here as well, but just being prepared and being coachable, just being able to be coachable and show them that you can do it, and just take it full head. So I loved it because I shows who I am as an individual and just shows my teammates and the coaches who I am as a player to put the time in and be dedicated to what they get in front of me.
Awesome. And do you have a preference of which position you've been playing right now at the NFL level? Because like I said, obviously you played a lot of tackle. So have you do you have a preference right now of where you're
I
most comfortable?
I don't have a preference. I love them all.
That's great. I mean, hey, that's a great answer. That's fantastic. It's always good to be prepared, right, to do anything. One thing I was super curious about as well is you mentioned it. You're learning from everyone on that offensive line, the coaching staff. The Bucs have a really good offensive line coaching staff in there as well. You have a new offensive coordinator in Josh Grizzard coming in. Just could you give some insight into the culture of the Buccaneers offensive line? Because in my opinion, when I look at it on paper, that's one of the most tight knit groups, if not the most tight knit group on the entire team, just because of the continuity you guys have together.
Right. So as an offensive lineman, if we're not close, then the team's gonna be it's gonna go downhill. But when we're close and we're working together as a unit, that's when you see the teams reach the most success. So that's where we're at. We're really close with each other, and we spend a lot of time with each other. So that's where we're at.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And finally, Raiqwon, I've got one more question for you, sir. So I always like to talk with guys and talk about expectations, not necessarily like numbers, right? But just as a person, right? You're obviously a guy who's been through a lot of awesome stuff, right? From the East Coast to the West Coast, back to the East Coast, back to the West Coast. You've traveled a lot, you've done a lot of different things. You have a lot of awesome things that you've done in your life so far. What should Bucs fans expect from Raiqwon O'Neal this upcoming season as a player, as a person, as a leader?
As a player, it's just give everything I got and leave it all on the field without no regrets. But just know I could walk away from the field and knowing I gave everything I got and put up a great performance for our fans, not just for our fans, but for my teammates and for my coaches. And as a person to get in the community of Tampa and the surrounding cities to just make a difference in Tampa. And that's really what personal for saying for my personal goal is just make a difference in the community that I'm a part of.
I love it, man. I love it. And obviously you are a huge advocate for being in the community, which I love, by the way. Like it's not every day you hear about players taking initiatives to, I mean, for goodness sakes, to have their own foundation, right? Like that's not something you see every day. So I mean, kudos to you, sir. I'm excited to see what you're going to be doing for the Tampa community, just in terms of like new initiatives and whatnot. Do you kind of have some ideas brewing for the Raiqwon O'Neal Foundation for Tampa and whatnot?
Yeah, I had some brainstorms ideas. We're just trying to finalize everything, but we definitely have stuff cooking.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, guys, make sure you stay tuned to the Raiqwon O'Neal Foundation. Again, go check out Raiqwon on social media. Where can the people find you on social media? I know you did mention Instagram earlier, but what other social media and whatnot can the folks find you at?
So, like you said, Instagram, I got Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. They all Raekwon O'Neal.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, guys, let us know your thoughts and opinions about everything we talked about down in the comments section below. It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Raiqwon, thank you so much for being on, sir. It is greatly appreciated as well.
Thank you for having me, Mr. James. It was an honor and a pleasure. So thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate that. And guys, as always, we will see you all in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.
Go Bucks.